Hello friends, how are you? Welcome to the Partner Study Center. Today we are going to see the chapter of geography, and what is our topic today? Ecology and ecosystem. There is a most important topic here. Ecology and ecosystem. The ecology is the study of the interaction between the organism and their environmental. Now there is ecologist feel that the two component of the nature. The organism and the environmental are not only related, but both this component is a function in the ordinary manner as a defined system. In fact, the two components, organism and environment, are not distracted. For a particular organism, other organism can be constituted as the part of its environment. Similarly, environment can be also be modified and influenced by their organism. Thus, the organism and environment are interacting part of system. Okay, there is a most important here ecology and ecosystem. There is a most important. Their ecology is the study of interaction between the organic and their environment. And ecosystem, there is a field that are two component of the natures, the organic and environment. That is important here. In fact, two component organism environmental is not distracted. For a particular organism, other organism can consist a part of its environment. And similarly, environment can be also modified and influenced by the organism. Thus, the organism and environment are interacting part of a system. Therefore, the term of ecosystem is now used to describe such a system. The word ecosystem is a short form of ecological system. The term was first used by the A.G. Tencel in the 1935. An ecosystem can be defined as a system of regularly interacting and interdependent components forming an unified whole. In other words, any segment of the landscape that include a biotic component is known as the ecosystem. What is ecosystem here? In other words, any segment of the landscape that include a biotic component is known as the ecosystem. If all its components are integrated with each other. For example, a lake or pond is an ecosystem when it is considered in its totality and that not just a water body. In that a sea's pond is a representative of a small ecosystem and biosphere is considered as the largest ecosystem. Basically the concept of revolves around the two aspects. The first here it is a study of interaction among to the various component and subcomponent, and there is a second here flow of energy among to various component of ecosystem, which is the stimulus determinant of the how a biological community function. There is a two types. There is the most important here and important also here the diagram. Here show the diagram energy flow of the ecosystem. The first of all starting to their solar energy or surface is the soil. There is the most important, and the next here the support here is a herbivorous, carnivorous, omnivorous, and there is a dead body of the plants, and there hydrotherapy is the important. And suddenly it goes here over to there is a dead is bodies is a virus, bacteria, and fungi, and there is a decompose. There is a most important flow of energy in the ecosystem. The diagram is a blur, but is the most important. You search of flow of energy in the ecosystem. Come there is a diagram on your screen. Therefore, if the study of functional aspect of the ecosystem, then we say maybe they study it is the term of flowing. The energy flow, food chain, nutrition and bio-geochemical cycle and development and the evolution, control mechanism and cybernetics and diversity is a pattern in time and space, and let us study each as component of the where if. There is the most important here is the energy flow and the food chain. The first here flow of energy in the ecosystem. There is a most important point here flow of energy in ecosystem. As discussed earlier that a continuous interaction goes on within a ecosystem, and this interaction between the component and subcomponent involve their flow of energy and cycling of the mineral nutrients. A generalized to the Diagrammatic representation of energy and mineral is a moment and giver above. The figure is the most important show here. The next, in this process, the transfer of energy takes place from one level to another, and this now as the trophic level. The trophic level is the most important here. The energy is a one level to other level is goes waste. There is called to the tropics level, and therefore trophic level is the level of the stage at which the food energy passes from one group to others. And to understand in a better manner, we have discussed the food chain and it is associated with the activities. In a biosphere, there is a broadly is a two groups of living organism. The first are autotrophs and second is a heterotrophs. And on this base of the food habit, this is heterotrophic is a further divided into three categories. The three category here is the most important. They are herbivorous, carnivorous, and omnivorous. There is the three types as the most important here. And herbivorous are plant-eating animal, and carnivorous is the flesh-eating animal, and omnivorous is both plant and animal eater organism. There is the most important point here. The herbivorous are plants eating animals, and carnivorous is flesh eating animal, and omnivorous is the both plant and animal eaters organism. The next year of food chain cycle, there is a most important food chain for the ninth class student and the plus 2 also. Let us now to the understand what is a food chain. First of all, there is question in your mind. The what is a food chain? The food chain can be defined as the sequence of transfer of energy from organism to one tropical level to those is a other tropical level. Sun is the major source of energy. It's a help in the growth of the plant and the soil are the water bodies. The plant from this basis of the food for large number of herbivores, and these herbivores are used as a food substance for a carnivorous. Besides, there is a omnivorous who feed on the plant as well as the animal flesh. The solar energy is absorbed by the soil is reflected in the form of plants and animals. And these organisms have a limited cycles and die after some time. The once this organism die, another group or organism start. There is a functioning as they feed on the dead materials, and they help are decomposing the dead bodies of plants and animals and release the energy which is again absorbed by the soil to enhance to the production of plant, and thus the cycle is complete. The above set of food chain are very simple food chain, but food chain are not a way so simple and the isolated to sequence. Several interconnected and the overlapping food chain present as a complicated pattern. Such pattern is called to the food web. The food web is the most important for the exam view. The food web is a several interconnected and overlapping of food chain present as a complicated pattern that is called to the food web. Here show the food web. Food web is the different of the web of a spider. There is a different show in this diagram. There is the most important food web show in this figure. Now let us see what are the various topical level here. As we have discussed earlier, sun or solar energy is the source for all the plant for preparation of their food. The energy which is stored by the plant is known as a tropical level. There is important here. The tropical level here, the energy which is stored by the plant is known as a tropical levels 1. It's become there is a source of energy for a herbivores. Therefore, transfer of energy from tropical level 1 to tropical level 2 and take place when the plant eating animals is a consume these plants. And again, this chemical energy through the foods consumed by the herbivores get stored at a tropical level 2 and become a source of energy from a carnivorous at the tropical level 3. The carnivores are flesh-eating animal and depend upon to the animal for a food. And this animal require a lot of energy for building their tissue. And they receive their energy from a tropical level 2 through the food consumption. A part of there is a chemical energy from the level of third. That is important here. A part of the chemical energy from this level third of the food chain is a transfer to the omnivorous at their tropical level fourth. and therefore the omnivores are at the top level of the food chain, which receive their energy from all the three levels. So in a food chain is a member at the successive higher level of become a smaller in a number. When the numbers at the successive level are plotted, they consume the shape of the pyramid, and hence it is the call for the pyramidal numbers on their figure. Here show the most important diagram, the total level here. The energy is a plant or show here of 10,000 energy for here. But the next go to the as a 1,000 and the other is goes back to the here or the only for a 100 and the next goes with the 10 and the last the human beings there is a 1% energy is consumed here. There is a most important energy flow here chart and their important diagram the clear for your understanding on their question. The number of organisms at the tropical level depend upon to ability of the food at its lower level. With increasing ability of food at the lower level, there is the consequent increasing the number of variety of organisms at the higher tropical levels. Thus, the ability of food it is a main factor which maintain the ground balance of nature, and this balance is dynamic and the fluctuate within the container limit. So the every ecosystem has its own system of the mechanism to be a control the balance, and this happen because in our ecosystem there is content to the inherent process which is the nutrient or materials are transferred. So time in the single direction and some is the time in the cycles. Let us discuss some of these cycles here. The next here is the natural bio-geochemical cycle. There is the most important cycle here, bio-geochemical cycle. The bio-geochemical cycle is a biologically, geologically and chemical interaction. There is a three factor here is include here. Are the nothing but there is a movement and circulation of the soluble inorganic substance is a nutrients derived from a soil and atmospheric phase of inorganic substance and through there is organic phase of various biotic components. Similarly, a return, circulation and movement of organic substance take place in the favor of inorganic objects such as the soil and atmosphere. Thus, these two systems are supplementary to each other and complete the cycle. The study of biochemical cycle can be approached one two cycles and cycling of all elements together and cycling of individual element and hydrological. Hydrological cycle is a carbon cycle, nitrogen cycle and phosphorus cycle, oxygen cycle and sulfur cycle, etc. Besides this cycle is a sediment cycle and mineral cycles are also included in this is border biochemical cycle. And this natural biochemical cycle is a function in a balanced manner which are stabilize a biosphere and the sustain their life process on the earth. If we are disturbed them it is will be lead to the various negative consequence which is the ultimate effect of the biosphere. Let us discuss some of these cycles in the brief. This cycle is already discussed in the lesson 9 on this book. But here but discuss the related to the biosphere is environment. You can defer these cycles which is given to the detail under lesson 9. There is an important lesson here. The first here, the hydrological cycle. The hydrological cycle, there is an important here, and this cycle helps exchange of water between to air, land, sea, living plants and the animal. Solar energy used to drive the hydrological cycle, and massive is in evaporation of water from to the ocean. Cloud formation and the rainfall give us our supply and the reserve of the fresh water. There is important here fresh water. At the sub-zero temperature, rainwater freeze into the snow and is the presence of strong wind from a hell. What is the rain? Is snow is a hell is precipitated on the land and water surface. On the land surface, water seeps into the soil and is stored as the groundwater. The natural water level of the water table exit below the ground. The water table is supported by the underlying clay and the rock star. The groundwater is not be remain a static but is a move in the various direction. Its move up to through the capillaries action and reaches soil surface where it is drawn by plants roots. The next year, the nitrogen cycle. The nitrogen and it is a compound are initially for the life process in the biosphere. There is a continued exchange of the nitrogen within the ecosystem operating the nitrogen cycle. And protein produced by the plant and animal in their metabolic process are organic compound of nitrogen. The major load of nitrogen organic reduce in the soil originate from the death and decline of the plant except to the of animals. And this organic reduce in the soil are the taken by the various soil microorganisms as a who break down in the soil nitrate into the nitrogen by the denitrification process. The denitrification process is the most important here, the breakdown of the soil nitrate to the nitrogen by the processing of denitrification process will the other transfer of nitrogen into the soluble nitrogen compounds. The next year, the carbon cycle. The carbon cycle is the most important here. The carbon cycle is a very important chemical cycle. The atmosphere is the minor reserve of the carbon. Hydrosphere is the major reserve which contain to the approximately 50 times more as that of atmosphere. It is a store of is a biocarbonate is a mineral deposit on the ocean floor. The latter is regulate the carbon dioxide level in the atmosphere. The cycle operates in the form of carbon dioxide exchanging among to the atmosphere, biosphere, and other oceans.